Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. And this is your tip of the week. In previous tips, I've talked a lot about making triangle shapes. Well, I'm going to show you how they can be applied in building a quilt block. So I'll show you how to make a roof line for a house. I'll go over that same technique that I'm using is used in making stars and pinwheels and other shapes. So let's get started. Here's a couple of sayings that I have that regard a house. This one says, bless this house. I printed this out on or stitched it out on my embroidery machine. And then this is home sweet home. And I thought it would be really nice if I put something like this into a house quilting block. So I'm going to show you how to make a house block, and you can use sayings in it, or you can just use plain fabric throughout. So let me show you how I drew the pattern. Whenever I'm creating something new, I have an idea in my head, but if I just cut right into my fabric, sometimes it doesn't come out very good. So I recommend if you're trying to create something new, you sketch it out. So let me show you how I began to come up with this block. So I'm using a cross stitch piece that I made that says Home Sweet Home. In here is where it's going to go. And then I decided, well, I want a yellow house. So these three little yellow areas here were going to represent the frame of the house. And then I was going to have a roof on it, grass, and a sidewalk. And I thought, whoa, this is really, really detailed. I want something really simple that looks like a house. So I redid my sketch, and this is what I came up with. So now I shortened the length of my roof, and I didn't put the yellow strip up here. I just left it really basic. And I'm just going to put a green border all around the house. So the part that I'm going to go over today is this triangle shape. I've been talking about triangles in previous tips of the week, but the technique that I've shown you before is the technique that I'm going to use on here. So let me show you how to create a house block for anything that you want to make. I cut my cross stitch design. It's not an exact square, but it's close. It's a little off. But then the sides and the background, those are cut 1.5 inches each. So I first stitched the yellow and the white together, and then I attached it to each side and stitching them together. And then I pressed everything. And so when you're done, it should look like this. Now, when you want to cut the roof, I recommend that you cut the roof 1 inch longer than where your yellow starts. So you want to measure from here to there, and then add another 2 inches for the full length. So for my little house, this piece here is 3 inches wide by about 10 inches. Now to make the roof slanted, I'm going to use squares, and these are 3-inch squares. So whatever the width is of your roof is the size of your square. So since this was 3 inches wide, I'm going to make a 3-inch square. So I'm going to need 2 of them to make the slanted roof. Then you're just going to draw a line from corner to corner. Then place it on your roof fabric. And you want the line going from in the center here down. And when you stitch, you're going to stitch on this side of your drawn line, but very close to it. Again, don't stitch on top of the line. Stitch on this side of the line here, and on this side, stitch on this side. And again, real close. Put your 1/4 inch line on top of your stitch line. And once you've done that, then cut it off and go over to this side and do the same thing. You're going to place your ruler on top of that and the 1/4 inch line on the stitch line and cut. So when you're done, it now looks like this. Then go to your iron and press these, and then you have a roof. So this little cutting technique to get this angle is used a lot in quilting. You'll find that you'll be using this technique when you go to make stars and other shapes like that. So now that your roof is done, you're going to place it up at the top of whatever saying you've got there and lay it up there and bring it front side down, and go ahead and pin it along this edge and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam. So this is how it looks so far. It does look like a little house to me. So now I just want to put some border fabric around it, and I'm just going to turn it into a little novelty pillow, as I said. So I'm going to use this color as my border fabric. So what I want to do is, I usually like to cut my strips longer than what I need. That way I can get an exact cut, because sometimes when you cut fabric to be the exact size of whatever you're attaching it to, it sometimes just doesn't turn out right. So I find if I cut it longer, then stitch it on, and then trim off whatever is left over. So go ahead and you put these front side down, then stitch a 1/4 inch seam along here and here. Press your seams after you've stitched. Press them on the back side. Then open this up and press on the front side. And my seams here on the side are pressed going out and away from the center of the block. Now I'm going to trim this excess fabric off. So line a ruler up on your top edge here. Make sure it's straight, and then go ahead and trim the excess off. And then go over to the other side and do the same thing. To finish this little house block off, I'm going to put some border fabric along the bottom and tops. So go ahead, and again, I recommend you cut it a little bit longer than you need. Line it up on the edge, pin and stitch 1/4 inch seam, then press, and then trim the excess off. So here's my finished block. Now the process I went through is used all the time in making quilts. And I have a tutorial, I should say, on how to make a paper piecing house, and it's really cute. And it's much smaller than this, and you can use that to build a quilt. Quilters like to do that one, and they make each house a different color for each block, and it's really a cute quilt to make. That link will be listed below your YouTube screen. So this is going to be a pillow for my living room, and to get the fabric for the back, just lay it on top, because yours may turn out a little different, and then cut it the exact same size as your front piece. If you need instructions on how to assemble a pillow together, it's very, very simple. I have a link below I'm going to refer you to, and it's my 20-minute pillow video, and you can actually turn it into a little slipcover if you want to, or use one whole piece on the back. Now that technique I showed you for making a roof, you can use in something like this. All of the squares were cut a certain size and then stitched on exactly the way we did it for the roof. And then let me show you another one. Here is a pinwheel, stitched together the same way. And then here is a star, an 8-point star. Now this is more advanced, but all of those little triangular shapes were pretty much made the same way. Now I have other patterns out there in which you can create other shapes. This one is really cute. It's one of my favorite pot holders. And this is a little mason jar, but these had little tiny triangles in each little corner. Well, I hope you learned something new in this tutorial. If you're interested in other sewing tips of the week, I've got many of them. So scroll down to the description section, and that's where all the links will be that I've referred you to. You click on Show More or the down arrow, and that description section will expand open so you'll see the links appear. And while you're down there, make sure you check out my Facebook page and follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.